Hello everybody, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have a monster review. Today we're going to talk to you about the FLESH GOLEM. Yes, it's that FLESH GOLEM thing from the original monster manual. It's used with basic Dungeons & Dragons and advanced Dungeons & Dragons, or what's typically called 1E today. Going to take just a quick moment to ask you that if you enjoyed today's presentation, by all means, please give us a like, consider subscribing if you haven't, share with your friends, leave us a comment, but most of all, come back and see us again real soon. Now, on with the story. So we're talking about the FLESH GOLEM. This is, once again, a very large creature, 8-9 feet tall. It is very capable for what it is. It only has 40 hit points. And the armor class is actually a 9. Now that's not very much, and you would think that something like this would have very little difficulty in being taken care of, terminated, something like that. Not as easy as you think. So these creatures attack as if they were a 9 hit dice creature. They do 2 to 16 points of damage. They have 2 attacks per round. And they're also capable of, like, smashing through doors, even ones with iron bands on them and so forth, in a very short period of time, just a few melee rounds, and are very good at doing structural damage, at least up through wood. Now, like every other golem out there, this one has to be brought into the world by a magic user, and it has to be a high-level magic user. And it takes a month to do, and there's a number of spells involved in bringing them forth. These ones cost 40,000 gold pieces, so that's 1,000 gold pieces per hit point. And with 40 hit points, well, 40,000. Not cheap. Now, like the rest of the golems, this is a neutral creature, once again conjured, so, kind of limited on that side. They are semi-intelligent. They can understand slightly more complex commands. That's really up to your DM. But it's not going to be any great shakes. Once again, semi-intelligent, so keep that in mind. And, of course, like I said, there's a bunch of spells involved with this. Now, in this case, you're paying 1,000 gold pieces per hit point. That doesn't include the cost of the materials for the spells. And the spells include things like Wish, Polymorph any object, and protection from normal missiles, and Strength. And like I said, it takes a month to get through the process of creating it and bringing it into the world to do things. Now, much like the clay golem, but not exactly the same, the flesh golem also has a 1% cumulative chance of going nuts and attacking anybody. So the more rounds it's in continuous combat, the higher the opportunity is to lose control. But, unlike the clay golem, you can get it back. Once you've lost control and it's going berserk, the conjurer has a 10% cumulative chance per round of regaining control, which is pretty handy. I mean, really, think about it. If you don't get control back, you're kind of screwed. So at least you can get control back. Now, the flesh golem, of course, has similar issues as the clay golem in terms of you can't hit it with normal weapons. You can hit it with plus weapons, and you're not limited by type. You're also able to do some things to it with spells, which is mainly slow it down. A fire-based or cold-based spell can slow it down by 50% if it's successful. Electrical spells, though, will actually restore points to the monster equal to the points of damage it would have done under normal circumstances. Pretty cool, huh? Now, these are definitely creatures that demand some respect, and of course they can take quite some time to put together. If you're able to create, conjure, and control one of these would be quite helpful. Now, as dwarves, flesh golems, well, yeah, pretty much the same as the clay golem. We don't really run across these, so not a big issue. But adventuring parties, something entirely different. We went out and talked to the greater Hornhelm community and asked them about what their thoughts were on the flesh golem. And of course, the dungeon masters came back and said, yeah, very respectable creature, not that many hit points. Um, Still, it's one that's not easy to deal with unless you have creatures above a certain level, or I should say characters above a certain level. And they said, yeah, this one we think about a 5.5 to a 6. I can't really disagree with that too much. I would have leaned more towards the 6. But I think they can be handled, and they don't have that many hit points, so you've got an opportunity to do things to them, as long as you're not stupid and start throwing lightning bolts at them and regenerating them. Now, of course, we went out to the players out there and asked the players in the Hornhelm community, hey, what about this particular golem? What about the flesh golem? And they came back and said, yeah, solid 6 to 6.5. I was surprised that they were that closely aligned with the dungeon masters, but hey, once again, it's up to them. So definitely a difficult creature, but not one that you can't get around. Flesh golems tend to be fairly commonly used in adventures. Dungeon masters use them. You will run across these, and they can be handled. But know your enemy. Know what you're up against. And for you magic users who want to go out there and create one of these things, to be very honest, one of the big problems I always had with golems is that if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. You may as well go for something much more dramatic than a flesh golem. Yes, it's faster and it costs less, but hey, I may as well spend the money and go for an iron golem or a stone golem. They're much more powerful. So, that, my friends, is the flesh golem. We hope you found today's presentation interesting, amusing, educational, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please be so kind and leave us a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Leave us a comment. Share with your friends. But most of all, come back and see us again real soon. Thank you so very much for your kind support. Take care, everyone, and remember, dwarves rock!